Hello, my name is Dr. Michelle Miedenberg. I am so excited to have here with me Stephen Joseph. And I have his book here that's actually coming out on Tuesday in a couple of days. And I'm so excited to have him here. I had the honor of reading through some of the chapters, and I found it to be so creative. And I'll have obviously Stephen present to you, kind of the structure of the book and also where he came up with this wonderful idea. So without further ado, Stephen, if you want to introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do, and also where you came, the title of the book, of course, and where you came up with this wonderful idea.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
My name's Steve Joseph, and I am a lawyer by day. That's what I do, and I actually, in the past, have written on negotiation. I do a lot of negotiation and mediation, and I teach about negotiation. So this is a little bit different for me, but I use a lot of the things that I talk about in that part of my world, and I bring to this book as well. But how this book came about was actually there was a pre-book, a kid's book. And this is the book. It's the last surviving dinosaur, the Crankasaurus. And this book is a story about the smallest, tiniest dinosaur on the planet, and the most dangerous dinosaur on the planet. And it talks about how all humans evolved from the tiniest, most dangerous dinosaur, the Crankasaurus. Now, Saurus is a Jewish word, a Yiddish word for problems. And, everybody talks about their Saurus, my Saurus, at least where I grew up. You think you have Saurus, my Saurus is way worse than your Saurus. So how that book came up was a trip with my partner in Rome, and we were jet lagged, and we were at this Airbnb. The electricity went out, which is not good in August. And she was coloring her hair, and the hair dye was going into her eye, which is very painful. So she got a little cranky, and it was going on for a while. And the Crankasaurus just came out of my mouth. I said, "You're becoming a Crankasaurus." And then I came up with a hypothesis that that's how all the other dinosaurs vanished. There was a tiny dinosaur who just cranked out her Saurus till the big dinosaurs couldn't take it anymore. So after that, it got a laugh out of her, but it created this book, this story. It also created the Crankasaurus in our own relationship. So if I'm feeling a little cranky, instead of acting out, I said I have a Crankasaurus in me. And it kind of gets a chuckle. It's not about her. She has a Crankasaurus. It's not about me. So I started writing about the effect of crankiness. And I talk about in my book, don't, use a different analogy, but the analogy I'm using now is like if you come into my house and you say, take off your shoes because you don't want to bring dirt in. I just got this rug from Walmart. They paid $30 for the rug. Don't want to make it messy. We end up putting the dirt on each other. So, and a lot of times the crankiness, I want to give it a name. So, and by giving it a name, almost a fun name, it makes you more, I guess, mindful of what it is. So the crankiness goes over in your head, doesn't go straight to your mouth. You lodge it here as a Crankasaurus, and then you could think, you could slow it down. You could slow it down. You could think about it. Maybe I need to go to another room or do something with it. So that's the concept that I bring out in the book.
And Stephen, I wanted to say that, just from hearing you and reading, you normalize it, right? It's like you make it as if it's a human condition, right?
Yes. So one of the things I call it the Common Crankasaurus, and I said, well, they call it the common cold, because you have one or two in the whole year. A Common Crankasaurus, you can have 2 or 3 a day, and so since you have 2 or 3 a day, you might as well be able to diagnose it and treat it, and not only treat it by yourself, sometimes you need help. So again, it's mindfulness and empathy. I think those are two important things. One chapter I talk about is Crankasaurus kryptonite, that we all have our kryptonite. And Superman had his kryptonite. It didn't mean that for Lois and Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, that I need to find a new superhero. So we all have our kryptonite, and we should all respect it and work with it. Again, that's what effective crankiness is. It's not about getting rid of it, it's embracing it.
Yeah. And I found it so engaging, the structure and format of the book. So I highly recommend it. Because what you did is you kind of intertwine, like, how the Crankasaurus shows up, right? And then you brought examples, like almost in a memoir style, but humorous, about, stories and just little anecdotes about yourself. So I found it very, very relatable in that way, and it really spoke to this human condition that we were just talking about.
Yeah, no, it's fun when I get to bring my own stuff in, and even when we get to turn things upside down. So just one example, it's not in the book, it's on my blog because I continue to write about it. I have a timeout Crankasaurus. And it's funny, when my daughter was young, we would put her in timeout. And I talked about when I grew up, I didn't get a timeout. I really got time in. And I talk about the story with my mother. My mother would say, "Stevie, do you feel like taking me to the beauty parlor?" And of course, it's a heat wave. My friends are going to the pool or to the ocean, and I have to say, "Of course, that's what I feel like." And the thing is, it wasn't taking; it was going with me, because no one had a car. I would go with her on the bus to Allerton Avenue in the Bronx. So we're waiting. It's like an hour trip to get to the beauty parlor. And then she has to get her hair washed and the curlers and that big thing in her. And it's like a 6-hour routine. And so that was my time in. Or my father would be sit with the family, and I would be the remote control. So, if I hear time out, it's like, well, I would have liked the time out when I was a kid. I always had to do the time in. So I make it funny, and tell like stories, and if I bring my own stuff to it, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, it makes it so, like, to me, it was so humanistic. It really was. And I found myself compelled to want to read more, more about, what other lessons, and then also more about your life, because I found the stories so humorous. So what do you hope that people get out of reading the book?
I hope to feel that when they read the book, it makes them think, and they don't feel like they have to get rid of something that's part of them. So I give it a name. One thing I talk about in the book, we always hear about, like a little kid. Your kid says, don't talk, say what you feel, don't act out. And I said, well, that's nice. It's obviously it's better if you feel angry, you say, I'm feeling angry. But sometimes, let's say you're become so good at saying you're feeling angry. Every day I feel angry, I feel angry, I feel angry. And what might happen is that I might start believing I'm a very angry person. And then you might start thinking that I'm an angry person. But by calling it the CrankaTsuris and the Common Crankasaurus, this is what I'm a very sweet person. I just happen to have a CrankaTsuris in me. And I know you have your CrankaTsuris too once in a while, and it's okay. It's a Common Crankasaurus. It's not something that like, why are you so cranky? We're all cranky. So that's why I hope people get out of it. It's okay. Breathe with it. Have fun with it. Enjoy it.
Yeah. So is it okay to give us, information where people could find you, where they could look you up? Anything you want to share for the audience?
Well, first of all, yes, this book is coming out on Tuesday. You can find it on Amazon and everywhere else books are sold. There's also on Amazon is the kids version, The Last Surviving Dinosaur, Tyrantic Crankasaurus. This is a Crankasaurus collection. My blog, StephenJosephAuthor.com, that has everything that you can imagine on crankiness, where I continue to have things land on my head, and it goes right to the blog. And again, I try to be funny. I try to give a life lesson and make you feel less cranky at the same time.
Yes, and I'm going to just say that you do a wonderful job with your humor. And I really hope that people go out and buy it, because like I said, I really, really found it a wonderful read. So best of luck with the book. And again, it's called, if you want to know the title, it's called The Grown-Up Guide to Effective Crankiness, the Crankasaurus Method. And, it looks like this. So you could get it on Amazon. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciated learning more about the book. Okay.